The 54th book that I completed in 2024 is Sandra Uwiringiyimana's How Dare the Sunrise. This is an autobiography that she wrote with Abigail Pesta. She wrote this book when she was 21 years old. She is now 28 years old. I have done reviews on this book before because I teach it to Honors 12 on a yearly basis, so I want to give a little bit more detail than I've given in the past. First of all, I'm going to give a spoiler, but it happens at the end of chapter 1, so it's not much of a spoiler. Much of the book is dictated on the death of Sandra's younger sister, Deborah, who is killed in a refugee camp in Rwanda. The family, Sandra's family, lives in Congo. They live there peacefully for the most part, but occasionally they have to leave because rebels will infiltrate the area. They usually get to come back and everything is fine. One day they are infiltrated and they have to flee to Rwanda. And while they're in Rwanda, they are racially discriminated against. Even it's black on black, but it's more tribal racialism, I suppose. And her mother is shot in the stomach but does not die. Her sister is shot and killed. The rest of her family live. They then appeal for immigration status to the United States and they receive it. They are taken to Rochester, New York, and it's the wintertime, and America is nothing like Sandra thought it would be. She thought everybody would be rich and everybody would be sparkly and clean, and they live in Rochester in a bad area, and it's snowy outside, and they have no clothes for winter at all, and only Sandra and her sister Princess, the oldest of the 7 children, speak English at the time when they move. So they kind of, even Sandra's in middle school and she's on the phone with like NIPSCO, and she's on the phone with the water department, and she's on the phone with the cable company, kind of acting as the adult because the mother can't speak very good English. It's the story of a family that works extremely hard. The father gets a job, the mother gets 2 jobs. I think a great story in this time of conflicting messages about refugees. This is a success story that I hope gives a little bit more well-roundedness to students' understanding of the refugee crisis, and the things that we do with the book I hope also does. So after Sandra is in the United States for a little while, she goes to college. And while she's in college, she finally suffers PTSD from the events in the refugee camp. It's been about 8 or 9 years since that happened, but it took that long for it to catch up to her. She suffers crippling PTSD and depression to the point that she can't get out of bed, and she fails all of her classes, and she is a top-notch student. So for her to fail all of her classes just means she wasn't going to class at all. It's got a happy ending. She does come out of the PTSD, and it also documents her humanitarian work. She has a dream, and her dream is to bring together all of the refugees from the camp that she was at. That's her initial goal, and she does that. They have gatherings throughout the United States. I believe the first one is in St. Louis, Missouri. And then after that, she just wants to bring together refugees and spread a message of hope and a message of positivity. She speaks at the UN. She gets invited to the White House Correspondents' Dinner and spends time with the Obamas. Michelle Obama gives her 7 extra minutes than she's supposed to get, and she's just over the moon to be talking to her. This is a great book. I saw an interview once on Good Morning America with Sandra and with Abigail Pesta, and I don't remember who the anchor is on that particular episode, but the anchor says this is a book that everyone should read. And I think that's true. My students like it very much. I like it very much. I have not grown tired of it at all. This is about the 10th time that I've read it because I read it with my classes, and this is the 3rd year that I'm teaching it. So, and also I have to obviously prepare for it. So it's starting to get logged in my memory pretty well. Highly, highly recommend this book for a true portrayal of what it's like to be a refugee coming from Africa and living in a completely foreign land in Rochester, New York.